Hi everyone, welcome to the Daily Blu. Thank you for joining us. Today we're doing a little midweek mental health. We have Christina Sofio here with us today from, sorry I keep forgetting this part, Family and Personal Counseling in Bohemia. Thank you so much for being here today, Christina.
Thanks for having me.
So today we're going to talk about toxic relationships. I think we've all been there before or know someone that has gone through some sort of toxic relationship. Maybe you want to help someone, maybe you want to help yourself. So what I want to ask you first is, what defines a toxic relationship, or what are some signs that you're in a toxic relationship? Maybe you don't even know you're in one.
Absolutely. I think a lot of people don't realize that they're actually in a toxic relationship at that time. What I would say defines it is, think of poison. Think of somebody coming in and poisoning your body and telling you that you can't be yourself and you shouldn't be, you should do what they want you to do all the time. You should act upon their thoughts, not your own.
Right.
So that's pretty much one sign, is that often you're with somebody who you don't like to be around anymore, or when you're with them, you're unhappy about yourself. You're not who you are, your family, your friends. They know that you're just not yourself anymore.
Right. So what would you say is the first step to changing such a dramatic thing? I mean, generally, someone that you have a toxic relationship with is someone you care about. So how do you go about changing that?
Oh, change is a hard thing. Most people struggle with the idea of change in general. Right. And I think that the first step is coming out of denial, accepting that you're in a toxic relationship, accepting that this is something you want to change, and taking then some other steps to get there.
Right, something that you have to change. You can't do that forever, or else you won't feel yourself. You won't be happy at the end of the day.
Absolutely.
So, okay, so getting out of denial. Anything else that you think would be the following steps after that?
Sure. I mean, we're in denial because we love somebody, because and this may be a person that you're in a relationship with. This may be a family member, or a friend, a coworker.
Right.
You know, toxic relationships aren't just between men and women. They're with all of your interpersonal relationships. So you have to, one, understand why you would allow this toxic relationship in your life. And usually that's because there's some benefit. Otherwise you wouldn't be in it, right? I mean, who would want to constantly feel crappy about themselves?
Right.
But defining, okay, this relationship I have for some beneficial reason, why is that, and how do I support myself through accepting the change that I need to make?
Right. So what about a situation where you feel guilty letting go of someone like that? You know, it might be your mother, it might be your brother, it might be someone that is always going to be intertwined in your life, or always going to matter to you in some way. So how do you get rid of that guilt factor?
Guilt, I think, is the leading cause of being in a toxic relationship. Okay. Sometimes you feel guilty about trying to disconnect from that person, especially if it's a family member. And really, in some situations like family members, there may not be an exact way to completely separate from them. So feeling guilty is normal. It's accepting that you're going to feel that guilt, you're going to have to do something to change, but to do so, to get out of that feeling, is to remember that you can't change somebody else. You can only change yourself. So hoping that that person will stop being toxic, like your mother or brother or coworker.
Not gonna happen.
It's not gonna happen. But you can change how you respond or react to that person.
So true.
And sometimes that's actually really hard to do. All of this stuff sounds so easy and so simple to change. And I think that's often a problem in our society, is this need for instant gratification. You know, we can get everything on Google in 5 seconds, but we can't get instant gratification with change. It's not something
it has to be, okay, today I'm going to take the first step into making my life better. Is it going to feel good right away? No. Am I going to be happy soon? I don't know. You really don't know. But at the end of the day, you need to go into it knowing that you'll be eventually happier.
Absolutely. I think that's huge. Accepting that it may take longer than expected, and that through that process you're going to feel that hurt, that guilt.
Everyone will also start to know you again, your friends and your family. So who do you think is, or as, you know, in your job every day, what are the patients that you normally find come in with this kind of problem the most?
Okay, that's a tough question because it honestly ranges. I mean, a lot of people go through toxic relationships, absolutely. If you're not in one now, you've been in one in the past, or you're probably in multiple relationships like that. But I do tend to see it happen a lot with women. Often, you know, young adult women, mainly people who are either insecure with themselves or undeserving of love, maybe who have, or they feel
not undeserving of love, they feel
they're
like
undeserving of love. And people who have been either in abusive relationships in their past or their childhood.
Yeah, you're more willing to, for some reason, accept it or think that that's normal. You don't know what it feels like to not go through that, or to be like, oh wait, there's no problems here. This is great.
Yeah, I find that most people, you know, I call it co-signing each other's BS. If you're with a friend who allows that kind of relationship in their life and you're hanging out with them all the time, then it's more normal for you to accept that that's okay.
Right.
But that's the other thing. Putting positive people into your life. Surrounding yourself around positive people, positive friends, positive family members. Seeing who allows toxic relationships in their lives and trying to stay kind of clear away from them.
It's so true. I think as long as you're around people that, A, want you to be happy, B, don't want to sit there and be miserable with you, C, just be around people who are in situations that you look up to.
Yeah, having positive role models is a great way to start change. If you see someone's life that you would like to emulate, then it's a little easier to say, wow, what are they doing that gives them that? What positive goals are they setting for themselves? What kind of support system do they have? And trying to emulate that.
And so also I think it's a lot about taking care of yourself. Am I correct? Like just really focusing on only you, and maybe forgetting certain things for a little while about that person, unfortunately.
Sure. Again, easier said than done, right? We all want to get rid of these people in our lives. That'd be nice. But taking that time to say, wow, this is what I need to do for me, whether it be meditation, you know, some people go to yoga, some people go to the gym, some people decide I'm going to travel the country, I'm going to do something new with my life. Get a hobby. I mean, enjoy being you. Find out what being you means. I think a lot of the times you start to do certain things that the other person likes to do so much because you want to be around them. You know, it's just, well, maybe you don't want to be around someone that's toxic. But no, but it is. It's exactly what it is.
It becomes toxic because you start doing everything they want to do as opposed to what really makes you feel good.
Absolutely. You decide to, you know, whatever somebody else says, oh, this is what we should be doing, you're just doing it. You're going along with it because you're being controlled or manipulated into that toxic relationship. So by taking a step back and deciding I'm going to be an independent person, I'm going to try and do things for myself and not for someone else, eventually you become confident and secure.
Yeah, because you start feeling good about the things that made you you in the very first place. And it just feels nice to remember who you were maybe before that person, or during your alone time when you used to not be around that person so much, or anything like that.
I think the other thing you have to remember too is that a lot of the reasons why people are in these relationships is because of their past experiences, because they accept it as normal. So you have to find what, you know, you have to take the denial out of the fact, or you have to decide, okay, I want to do something to change. I want to see why this benefits me and try and support myself in some way other than them. I want to do stuff for myself and be healthy and happy within me.
And therapy. Talking about it.
Absolutely.
Sometimes so nice when you have someone to talk to. Maybe you don't, you know?
Yeah, we need to figure out what it is that actually caused us to feel this way in the first place, and sometimes that takes a little therapy or work.
And it takes a while. It's not like, let me come in one day. But it takes a while to
that's something I get a lot. People come in and think after a couple of sessions everything's going to be better.
I'm better.
But take that time to really work on yourself. It does take some time, and know that that's okay.
Yeah. So I guess my last question for you would maybe be, is there a way to prevent getting into this in the future? I mean, obviously you get to, you know, maybe you'll feel better, be yourself again, or have learned to let someone go, have learned to remove this toxic thing from your life. Do you think that there are certain things you could do to not do it again? Because as we
Sure.
were saying, it's kind of a repetitive cycle. It's like, I felt this before, and then here I am again.
Figuring out those unconscious reasons why you are vulnerable to those toxic relationships is going to be the biggest factor. And then other than that, just making sure that you are staying true to yourself always, keeping your confidence and independence.
Yeah.
And
Don't deny your gut feeling. Don't deny
that's the other
those
thing.
things that
if you start to see patterns of behavior that you've been in before, recognize it right then and there, and don't fall into that trap again.
Stop denying it.
Right.
From the get-go.
Right. if you've been there, if you've done it, you'll know it. You'll start to see signs and symptoms like we've just described. So be aware. Be aware of yourself. And if you start to lose yourself in any way, like you sing it around the house all the time, and now all of a sudden you're not singing anymore.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny you say that. I mean,
Yeah.
I've heard people say that before. Like, I just don't even act myself in everyday situations.
Absolutely. Your
singing
family
in
and
the
friends start
shower.
to notice. If people start to notice around you that you're not the same person, usually it's probably because they love you and care about you.
Right.
So take notice to the very obvious signs around you.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
So yeah, if you would like, actually, Christina is working in Bohemia at Family and Personal Counseling, and you could call 758-8290 if you want to contact them. Also, you can call us over at Blue Chip. And thank you so much for being here again, and everyone stay out of those toxic relationships. No good.
Yeah.
And hope everyone has a great day. Thank you for joining us on the Daily Blue.